Dr. Zixithera had 4 eyes, which made her excellent at her job as chief medical officer aboard the galactic research vessel Harmony. She had seen thousands of different alien species walk through her medical bay doors over the past 20 years. Big ones, small ones, ones that breathed methane, ones that ate pure energy for breakfast. Nothing surprised her anymore. Today felt different, though. Today, the first human diplomatic shuttle was docking with their station. The humans were new to the galactic community. They had only made first contact 6 months ago, when their primitive ships bumped into a Rigelian trade convoy. Since then, everyone in the galaxy had been curious about these strange bipedal creatures from the third planet of a yellow star. The humans looked so normal from the outside. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. They breathed oxygen and drank water just like dozens of other species. Their body temperature was average. Their size was average. Everything about them seemed perfectly ordinary and boring. Marcus Chen stepped into the medical bay wearing a simple blue uniform. He was the human ambassador's aide, a young man with dark hair and friendly eyes. He smiled at Dr. Zixithera and waved his hand in what she had learned was a human greeting. "Good morning, Doctor," Marcus said through the translation device clipped to his collar. "I'm here for the standard medical screening." Dr. Zixithera nodded with all 4 of her eyes. Every new species had to go through medical screening before they could join the galactic community. It was simple and easy. A quick blood test, some basic scans, and that was it. She had done this procedure so many times she could do it in her sleep. "Please sit on the examination table," she told Marcus, pointing to a floating platform in the center of the room. "This will only take a few minutes." Marcus climbed onto the table and swung his legs like a child. He seemed relaxed and happy, even joking with the translation computer about the weather on the station. Dr. Zixithera liked him immediately. Many species were nervous during their first galactic medical exam, but humans seemed different. They were curious about everything. "I should probably warn you," Marcus said as Dr. Zixithera prepared the bioscanner. "I had a pretty rough night last night. The crew threw a welcome party for us. I might seem a little tired." Dr. Zixithera made a note in her medical file. Many species had different reactions to social gatherings. Some got energized, others got exhausted. This was normal information to record. "That is perfectly fine," she assured him. "The scanner will show us everything we need to know about your basic health. Please hold still." She activated the bioscanner, a beautiful piece of technology that could analyze any living creature's blood and body chemistry in seconds. The machine hummed softly as it worked, sending gentle waves of energy through Marcus's body. Dr. Zixithera watched the readings appear on her screen, expecting to see the usual boring numbers. Instead, the scanner started making noises she had never heard before, not the soft humming sound of normal operation, but sharp beeping sounds like warning alarms. The screen flashed bright red colors that hurt her eyes. "What in the 7 moons?" she muttered, checking the machine's connections. Everything looked normal. She ran the scan again. The warning sounds got louder. Error messages started appearing on her screen, faster than she could read them. Dr. Zixithera's 4 eyes went wide as she saw the blood analysis results. The scanner had found 47 different toxic substances in Marcus's bloodstream. 47! Each one was marked with the bright red symbol that meant lethal dose. The machine was practically screaming that this creature should be dead. But Marcus was sitting there calmly, still swinging his legs and humming a little song to himself. Dr. Zixithera checked the readings 3 more times. Ethanol levels that would kill a Rigelian warrior, caffeine amounts that could stop a Thraxian's 3 hearts, something called capsaicin that registered as pure poison, nicotine levels that made her scanner wonder if it was broken, and dozens of other substances she had never seen before. The computer couldn't even identify half of them, but it knew they were deadly. "This cannot be right," she whispered to herself. She looked at Marcus, who was now examining his fingernails with interest. He looked perfectly healthy. His skin had good color. His breathing was normal. His heart was beating at a steady rate. According to her scanner, he should have been dead 3 times over. Dr. Zixithera's hand started shaking as she rechecked the machine one more time. Everything was working perfectly. The readings were accurate. This human really did have enough poison in his blood to kill a small army. "By the 7 moons," she suddenly shrieked, her voice so loud that Marcus jumped on the table. "You have 47 different lethal toxins in your bloodstream. How are you still conscious?" How are you still breathing? How are you still alive? The translation device worked overtime, trying to convert her panicked chittering into human language. Other medical staff in nearby rooms came running to see what was wrong. Marcus blinked slowly and looked down at his wrist where he wore a small timekeeping device. He studied it for a moment, then looked back up at Dr. Zixthera with a confused expression. "Oh, that?" he said, as if she had asked him about the weather. "It's Tuesday." Dr. Zixthera stared at him. Her 4 eyes blinked one at a time as she tried to process what he had just said. Tuesday was a human time measurement, she knew that much. But what did their calendar have to do with having enough poison in his blood to kill everything on the station? "Tuesday," she repeated slowly. "What does Tuesday have to do with you being full of deadly toxins?" Marcus shrugged, a human gesture that meant he thought something was obvious or not important. "Well, it's Tuesday morning. I always feel a little rough on Tuesday mornings. Monday night is when everyone relaxes after the work week starts." This made no sense to Dr. Zixthera at all. She looked at her scanner again. The numbers hadn't changed. Marcus was still full of enough poison to kill a space whale, and he was talking about it like it was normal. "Mr. Chen," she said carefully, "I need you to understand something. According to every medical database in the galaxy, you should be dead. The amount of toxins in your blood would kill any known species instantly, yet you are sitting here talking to me about Tuesday as if nothing is wrong." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. "Yeah, I can see how that might be confusing for you. Want me to explain?" Dr. Zixthera nodded so hard her neck hurt. "Well," Marcus began, "yesterday was Monday, which means today is Tuesday. On Monday nights, humans usually try to relax after starting the work week. Some of us have drinks with friends. I had coffee this morning because I always have coffee in the morning. Can't really function without it, you know? And I take my daily vitamins to stay healthy." He paused and thought for a moment. "Oh, and my friend Jake brought some hot sauce back from Earth. Carolina Reaper sauce. Really good stuff, clears your sinuses right up. And I had some chocolate after dinner last night. Dark chocolate, the good kind." Dr. Zixthera felt dizzy. According to her scanner, every single thing Marcus had just mentioned was toxic enough to kill him. But he was describing them like they were perfectly normal parts of his daily routine. "This is impossible," she whispered. "Your species should not exist." Dr. Zixthera pressed every emergency button in her medical bay. Lights flashed red and blue as alarm sounds filled the air. Her medical team came running from all directions, their different alien forms moving as fast as they could. "Emergency detox protocols," she shouted at her assistants. "Prepare the full cleansing chamber. Get the universal antidote ready. This human is going to die if we don't act fast." Marcus watched all this activity with curious interest. He was still sitting on the examination table, swinging his legs back and forth like a child on a playground swing. The emergency lights made pretty patterns on the walls. "Is all this really necessary?" he asked politely. "I feel fine." Dr. Zixthera spun around to stare at him with all 4 eyes. "Fine? You feel fine? Mr. Chen, you have enough toxins in your blood to kill everything on this station. How can you possibly feel fine?" 3 of her medical assistants were working frantically at different control panels. Dr. Klixnar, her second in command, was preparing emergency medical equipment with his 6 tentacle arms moving in perfect coordination. Nurse Yathara was mixing different antidotes in glass containers that glowed with soft light. Marcus watched them work and seemed genuinely confused by all the attention. "Really, doctor, I appreciate the concern, but I don't think I need any medical treatment. I'm just a little tired because it's Tuesday morning." "Stop saying Tuesday," Dr. Zixthera shrieked. Her translator device sparked as it tried to keep up with her emotional outburst. "What does your day of the week have to do with having lethal poison in your bloodstream?" Marcus scratched his head, another human gesture that meant he was thinking. "Well, let me break it down for you. Yesterday was Monday, right? Monday nights are when humans like to unwind after the first day of the work week. So I went to the crew lounge and had a few drinks with the engineering team." Dr. Zixthera checked her scanner readings again. "The ethanol levels in your blood would kill a Rigelian in minutes." "Right, well, we were celebrating," Marcus continued calmly. "The engineers were excited about getting to work on an alien space station. We had maybe 6 or 7 beers each. Nothing too crazy." Dr. Klixnar's tentacles stopped moving. He turned to stare at Marcus with his large purple eyes. 6 or 7 units of ethanol? In one evening?" "Give or take," Marcus said with another shrug. "I wasn't really counting. Tommy from engineering bought a round. Then Sarah from communications bought a round, then I think the captain bought one too. You know how it goes. Dr. Zixathera felt faint. In her 20 years of galactic medicine, she had never heard of any species voluntarily consuming multiple doses of poison for entertainment. But the caffeine levels, she managed to say. The scanner shows enough caffeine to stop a Thraxian's heart. All 3 hearts. Marcus brightened up at this. Oh yeah, the coffee. I love coffee. Can't really start my day without it. I probably had 6 cups this morning. Maybe 7. I lost count after the 3rd pot. 3rd pot? Dr. Klixner whispered. Well, I had to get up early for this medical appointment, Marcus explained reasonably. And I wanted to finish some paperwork before I came here. Plus, I was reading this really interesting report about galactic trade routes. Coffee helps me focus, you know? Nurse Yathara dropped the glowing antidote container she was holding. It hit the floor and shattered, spreading bright blue liquid across the medical bay floor. You willingly consume neural stimulants to improve brain function? She asked in a voice so quiet it was almost a whisper. Every morning, Marcus confirmed. Sometimes in the afternoon too if I'm feeling sleepy. There's this great little coffee shop near the embassy on Earth. They have this blend from South America that's absolutely perfect. Strong enough to wake the dead, as we say. Dr. Zixathera was looking at her scanner readings again. The numbers were not changing. If anything, they seemed stable, as if Marcus's body was somehow managing all these deadly toxins without any problem. The capsaicin readings, she said slowly. These levels should be burning holes through your internal organs. Marcus's face lit up with genuine excitement. Oh, you mean the hot sauce? Yeah, my buddy Jake brought that back from his vacation on Earth. Carolina Reaper sauce. It's made from one of the hottest peppers humans have ever grown. Really clears out your sinuses when you're feeling stuffy. You consume acid-based compounds for sinus health? Dr. Klixner asked. Well, not just for health, Marcus admitted. It tastes great too. Really adds flavor to food. I put it on my eggs this morning. And my toast. And I think I put some in my coffee too. Now that I think about it, the medical team exchanged horrified looks. Dr. Zixathera checked another reading on her scanner. The nicotine levels are also concerning, she said. Carefully, Marcus nodded. Yeah, I've been trying to quit smoking, but it's hard when you're stressed. I only had 3 cigarettes today. Well, maybe 4. Definitely fewer than usual, though. You intentionally inhale toxic smoke? Nurse Yathara asked. It's a bad habit, Marcus admitted. I know it's not good for me. My doctor back on Earth keeps telling me to quit. But space travel makes me nervous and nicotine helps me relax. Dr. Zixathera sat down heavily in her chair. Her 4 eyes were starting to hurt from staring at the impossible scanner readings. Mr. Chen, she said slowly, I need to ask you something very important. Is this normal for your species? Do all humans consume multiple lethal toxins as part of their daily routine? Marcus thought about this for a moment. Well, not everyone drinks coffee. Some people prefer tea, and not everyone likes spicy food. My grandmother can't handle anything hotter than black pepper. But yeah, I'd say I'm pretty typical for a human. Pretty typical, Dr. Zixathera repeated faintly. Actually, I'm probably on the mild side, Marcus continued. You should meet my cousin Danny. He drinks energy drinks instead of coffee, and he puts ghost pepper powder on everything. Even his ice cream. Dr. Klixner made a choking sound. Ice cream? It's a frozen dairy dessert, Marcus explained helpfully. Sweet and cold. Danny says the ghost pepper powder makes it more interesting. Dr. Zixathera looked at her medical team. They all looked back at her with the same expression of complete confusion and growing horror. I think, she said quietly, we need to contact the Galactic Medical Council. Immediately. Ambassador Sarah Kim walked into the medical bay to find complete chaos. Red emergency lights were still flashing. Medical equipment was scattered across tables, and Dr. Zixathera was running between different scanner machines like her life depended on it. In the middle of all this confusion, Marcus was sitting calmly on the examination table, eating something orange and crunchy from a small bag. Marcus, Ambassador Kim said with the tired voice of someone who had dealt with too many diplomatic incidents already today. What did you do? Marcus looked up from his snack and smiled. Hey, Ambassador. Nothing much. Just came in for my routine medical check. Want some chips? They're really good. Ambassador Kim looked at the bag in Marcus's hands. Her scanner implant immediately identified the contents and made her wince. Marcus, are those ghost pepper chips? Yeah. Jake gave them to me before we left Earth. Said they'd remind me of home. They're perfect for clearing out your sinuses. Dr. Zixthera appeared at Ambassador Kim's shoulder, her 4 eyes wide with panic. Ambassador Kim, I must speak with you immediately. Your aide is consuming pure capsaicin crystals while we speak. According to my scanners, each one of those chips contains enough poison to incapacitate a Rigelian battle squad. Ambassador Kim watched Marcus crunch happily on another chip and wash it down with something from a metal container. Marcus, what's in the flask? Bourbon, Marcus replied casually. Good stuff too. Kentucky bourbon. Helps with the nerves. All this medical equipment makes me a little anxious. Dr. Zixithara made a sound like a deflating balloon. More ethanol. He's adding more ethanol to his system while I watch. Ambassador Kim looked around the medical bay. Every alien medical professional was staring at Marcus like he was some kind of dangerous creature that might explode at any moment. She recognized the expression. She had seen it before during first contact situations when humans did something that other species found impossible to understand. Doctor, she said carefully, I think we need to have a conversation about human biology. You might want to sit down. Do your species sit down? Dr. Zixthera pointed to a floating cushion near her desk. I can rest on that support platform. But Ambassador, there is no time for conversation. Your aide needs immediate medical attention. The toxin levels in his bloodstream should have killed him hours ago. Ambassador Kim helped Dr. Zixithera settle onto her floating cushion, then activated her personal data pad. Holographic displays filled the air around them, showing detailed information about human physiology. Doctor, I need you to understand something important about humans. Ambassador Kim began. We didn't evolve on a normal planet. Earth is what most galactic civilizations would classify as a Class 3 death world. Dr. Zixithera's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. A death world? But humans seem so normal. That's exactly the problem, Ambassador Kim said. We seem normal because you're used to species that evolved on safe, stable planets. Humans evolved in constant danger. Our planet tried to kill us every single day for millions of years. She gestured to the holographic display showing Earth's ecosystem. Predators, poisonous plants, deadly weather, volcanic eruptions, ice ages, asteroid impacts. Everything on our planet either wanted to eat us or poison us. So we adapted. Marcus waved from the examination table. Don't forget the spiders, Ambassador. Australia has some really impressive spiders. Australia? Dr. Zixithera asked weakly. One of our continents, Ambassador Kim explained. Even by Earth standards, it's particularly dangerous. Nearly everything there is venomous, poisonous, or just generally hostile to life. Dr. Clicksnar, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. But that doesn't explain how he can consume so many toxins without dying. Ambassador Kim pulled up another holographic display, this one showing human liver and kidney function. Our bodies became very good at processing dangerous substances. What you call toxins, we call Tuesday. He keeps saying that, Dr. Zixthera exclaimed. What does Tuesday mean? It's just a normal day for us, Ambassador Kim said. Marcus isn't sick or poisoned. He's just living his normal life. The alcohol he drank last night? That's how humans socialize and relax. The caffeine this morning? That's how we wake up and focus our minds. The capsaicin in those chips? That's how we add flavor to our food. She pointed to more data on the holographic display. Our livers can process ethanol efficiently. Our nervous systems can handle large amounts of caffeine. Our digestive systems actually enjoy capsaicin and other compounds that would be deadly to most species. Marcus crunched on another chip. Plus, these things are really tasty. You should try one, Doctor. No! Dr. Zixithera and her entire medical team shouted at the same time. Ambassador Kim continued her explanation. Humans actively seek out substances that challenge our bodies. We drink alcohol because it makes us feel relaxed. We consume caffeine because it makes us alert. We eat spicy food because the pain actually releases pleasure chemicals in our brains. You derive pleasure from pain? Nurse Yathara asked in horror. Not exactly pain, Ambassador Kim said. More like controlled danger. Our brains reward us for successfully handling challenging substances. It's how we survived on a death world. Dr. Zixithera was staring at the data displays with all 4 eyes. Your liver isn't just filtering toxins. It's breaking them down and somehow converting them into useful compounds. Exactly, Ambassador Kim said. And that's not even the impressive part. Show them the chocolate data, Marcus. Marcus brightened up and pulled out another small item from his pocket. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about dessert. He unwrapped what looked like a small brown square and popped it into his mouth. Dr. Zixathera's scanner immediately started beeping again. More toxins. Theobromine, phenylethylamine, anandamide. How many poisons can one creature consume? It's dark chocolate, Marcus explained happily. 85% cacao. Really good quality stuff. Great for antioxidants. You consume oxidizing agents for health benefits? Dr. Klixnar asked. Antioxidants, Ambassador Kim corrected. They're good for us. And the theobromine gives us a mild mood boost. Humans have been eating chocolate for thousands of years. Dr. Zixathera looked at her scanner readings again. The numbers were still stable. Marcus's body was processing all these substances like they were normal nutrients. This is impossible, she whispered. No species should be able to do this. Ambassador Kim smiled. Doctor, you're thinking like someone from a normal planet. We're not from a normal planet. We're from Earth. And on Earth, the only way to survive was to become tougher than everything trying to kill us. Marcus finished his chocolate and washed it down with more bourbon. Speaking of which, Ambassador, do you think the station cafeteria has any coffee? I'm starting to feel a little tired and it's only Tuesday afternoon. Dr. Zixathera put her head in her hands. All four eyes closed at the same time. I think I need to lie down, she said faintly. The medical bay had been transformed into something that looked more like a university classroom than a hospital. Dr. Zixathera had cleared out all the emergency equipment and brought in holographic projectors, data screens, and floating seats for visitors. What had started as a simple medical emergency had become the most important xenobiology lesson in galactic history. Representatives from 12 different species sat in a circle around Marcus, who was still cheerfully eating ghost pepper chips and sipping bourbon from his flask. Dr. Zixathera stood at the center with Ambassador Kim, both of them surrounded by floating displays showing human biological data. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, said Dr. Vorth, the galaxy's leading expert on toxic biology. His green tentacles waved nervously as he spoke. Humans regularly consume substances that would be classified as deadly poisons by every other known species, and they do this for pleasure. Well, when you put it like that, it sounds bad, Ambassador Kim admitted. But yes, alcohol, caffeine, capsaicin, theobromine, nicotine, these are all recreational substances for humans. Marcus helpfully raised his hand like a student in class. Don't forget about the other stuff too. Garlic, onions, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla. Oh, and some humans eat things that are actively trying to poison them while they eat them. The alien scientists exchanged horrified looks. Dr. Yelixandra, a specialist in evolutionary biology, leaned forward with her large silver eyes focused intently on Marcus. What do you mean by actively trying to poison you? She asked. Marcus thought for a moment. Well, there's fugu fish. It's a Japanese delicacy. The fish has enough poison in it to kill 30 humans, but if you prepare it just right, you can eat it safely. It's supposed to make your lips tingle. One of the junior researchers, a young Thraxian named Dr. Kefik, fainted. His blue skin turned pale green as he slumped in his floating chair. Then there's castor beans, Marcus continued, not noticing the effect he was having on his audience. They contain ricin, which is incredibly toxic. But humans figured out how to process them into castor oil, which we use for medicine. Dr. Zixathera was taking notes as fast as her four hands could move. So humans actively seek out dangerous substances and find ways to make them useful? Pretty much, Marcus said with a shrug. We also eat bitter almonds, which contain cyanide, and rhubarb leaves have oxalic acid. Oh, and lima beans have hydrogen cyanide in them too. Ambassador Kim pulled up a new holographic display showing Earth's ecosystem. You have to understand, almost everything on our planet evolved some kind of chemical defense. Plants develop toxins to avoid being eaten. Humans developed the ability to eat them anyway. Dr. Vorth was studying his own scanner readings from Marcus, but the levels we're seeing aren't just tolerance. His body is actively processing these substances and deriving benefit from them. The caffeine is improving his neural function. The capsaicin is boosting his metabolism. The ethanol is reducing his stress hormones. That's right, Ambassador Kim said. We didn't just develop immunity to toxins. We turned them into tools. Marcus finished his chips and pulled out a small package from another pocket. Anyone want some wasabi peas? They're great for clearing your sinuses. Dr. Zixathera scanned the package with her handheld device. The readings made her four eyes water. That's pure allyl isothiocyanate. It should burn through your mouth. It does make your mouth tingle a bit, Marcus agreed, popping several of the green spheres into his mouth. That's the good part. Really wakes you up. Dr. Alexandra was furiously scribbling notes. How many of these toxic substances do humans regularly consume? Ambassador Kim consulted her datapad. Conservative estimate? Several hundred common ones. Thousands if you count all the regional variations and traditional foods. Regional variations? Dr. Kefik asked weakly from his chair, having just regained consciousness. Different parts of Earth develop different dangerous foods, Ambassador Kim explained. Indians use incredibly hot peppers and dozens of toxic spices. Mexicans combine peppers with fermented alcohol. Scots eat something called haggis and drink liquid that's basically pure ethanol. Koreans ferment vegetables until they're covered in beneficial bacteria that would kill most aliens. Marcus nodded enthusiastically. My grandmother makes kimchi that could probably strip paint. It's delicious. Dr. Vorth was staring at his readings in disbelief. I'm detecting beneficial bacteria in his digestive system. Living organisms that are helping him process these toxins. Oh yeah, the gut microbiome, Marcus said casually. We've got billions of helpful bacteria living in our stomachs. They help us digest food and fight off harmful bacteria. We feed them fermented foods to keep them happy. You have a symbiotic relationship with billions of microorganisms? Dr. Alexandra asked, doesn't everyone? Marcus looked genuinely confused. How do you digest food without gut bacteria? The alien scientists looked at each other with growing alarm. Dr. Zixathara checked her notes. Mr. Chen, most galactic species have sterile digestive systems. We don't allow bacteria to live in our bodies. Marcus looked shocked. But how do you process complex nutrients? How do you fight off infections? How do you make vitamins? And we take supplements, Dr. Kefik said quietly. Artificial supplements made in laboratories, Dr. Vorth added. Marcus shook his head in amazement. Wow, that seems really inefficient. Our bacteria do all that work for free. Plus they help us process things like lactose, fiber, and complex proteins. Ambassador Kim pulled up another display showing human digestive bacteria. Humans essentially turned our digestive systems into biological factories. We can extract nutrients from almost anything organic. This explains so much, Dr. Zixathara muttered, making more notes. The toxin tolerance, the efficient metabolism, the ability to survive on different food sources. Marcus pulled out another snack, this one in a small metal can. Want some pickled herring? It's fermented fish. Really good for you. The smell that emerged when he opened the can made half the alien scientists immediately activate their emergency breathing filters. That's pure ammonia and trimethylamine. Dr. Vorth gasped through his filter. It's decomposing. Well, yeah, Marcus said, eating the fish with obvious enjoyment. That's how fermentation works. The bacteria break down the proteins and create new flavors. This one's been fermenting for 6 months. Dr. Alexandra stood up so fast her chair spun backward. You eat decomposed flesh that's been colonized by bacteria for months? Some humans eat it after years of fermentation, Ambassador Kim added helpfully. There's a traditional Icelandic food called hakarl that's shark meat buried underground for 4 months. Marcus nodded. I've never tried that one, but I hear it's really strong. You have to work up to it. Dr. Zixathara looked at her assembled colleagues. They were all staring at Marcus like he was some kind of impossible creature that had wandered in from another dimension. Colleagues, she said slowly, I believe we need to completely revise our classification of humanity. They're not just from a death world. They're death world apex predators who decided to make friends with the galaxy. Marcus looked up from his fermented fish, bourbon, and wasabi peas. Hey, are we almost done here? I promised the engineering crew I'd bring back some of those extra spicy noodles from the station food court. The ones with all the warning labels. As the alien scientists watched Marcus gather his collection of toxic snacks and head for the door, they realized they weren't just documenting a new species. They were meeting the galaxy's most terrifying life forms, and somehow, impossibly, these terrifying creatures were friendly. News traveled fast in the galactic community. Within 6 hours of Dr. Zixathara's initial report, her medical bay was packed with visitors from across the galaxy. Scientists, researchers, military advisors, and government officials had all found excuses to visit the Harmony station. They claimed they were there for routine inspections or diplomatic meetings, but everyone knew the truth. They wanted to see the impossible human for themselves. Marcus had become the most studied creature in galactic history, though he seemed more interested in exploring the station's food vendors than in his sudden celebrity status. He had discovered that the Rigelian merchant sold something called fire crystals that made excellent additions to his morning coffee. The fact that fire crystals were used as industrial welding compounds on most worlds didn't seem to bother him at all. "This changes everything. We thought we knew about life in the universe," announced Dr. Vorth to the assembled crowd of scientists. He was addressing what had become an impromptu conference in the station's main hall. If humans can not only survive but actually thrive on toxin levels that would devastate our most robust ecosystems, then we need to completely rethink our approach to planetary classification. Marcus looked up from the vendor stall where he was examining some kind of crystalline substance that was making the radiation detectors click ominously. "Oh, this is nothing special," he called out cheerfully. "You should meet my cousin Danny. He puts ghost pepper powder in his ice cream and drinks energy drinks instead of water." The assembled scientists fell silent. Several of them activated their personal translation devices to make sure they had heard correctly. "Energy drinks?" asked Dr. Wheelexandra weakly. "Yeah. They're these great beverages with extra caffeine, taurine, B vitamins, and usually some kind of synthetic stimulant," Marcus explained, walking back to the group while munching on what appeared to be crystallized plutonium salts. "Danny drinks maybe 8 or 10 cans a day. Says regular coffee doesn't give him enough energy anymore." Dr. Kefik, who had been slowly recovering from his earlier fainting spell, immediately sat down hard on the nearest available surface. Ambassador Kim appeared at Marcus's elbow, looking like someone who had spent the day dealing with diplomatic incidents. "Marcus, please stop eating the uranium crystals. The vegan ambassador is having a panic attack." Marcus looked down at his snack with surprise. "These are uranium?" "Huh, they taste kind of nutty. I thought they were some kind of mineral supplement." Dr. Zixathara approached Ambassador Kim with all 4 of her eyes showing deep concern. "Ambassador, I must ask you something very important. Is Marcus typical of human biology? Are all members of your species like this?" Ambassador Kim considered the question carefully. "Marcus is actually pretty average for a human. Maybe even on the mild side of normal." "Mild side?" Dr. Vorth's voice cracked as he spoke. "Oh yes," Ambassador Kim said. "You should meet our extreme sports enthusiasts. Those are humans who intentionally put themselves in dangerous situations for entertainment. They jump off cliffs, dive to the bottom of oceans, climb mountains in freezing weather, and run through obstacle courses designed to injure them." Marcus nodded enthusiastically. "My sister Sarah does something called free climbing. She climbs up the sides of mountains using just her hands and feet. No safety equipment. Says it's more fun when there's a real chance of falling to your death." "She climbs mountains for fun?" Dr. Alexandra asked in a voice barely above a whisper. "And there are humans who eat at roadside food vendors in questionable neighborhoods," Ambassador Kim continued. "They specifically seek out food prepared in unsanitary conditions because they believe it builds character and strengthens their immune systems." "Builds character?" Dr. Kefik repeated faintly. Marcus was now examining a vendor stall that sold what looked like decorative crystals, but were actually concentrated acid compounds. "Oh, and you definitely need to know about Australians," he said without looking up from his shopping. "Australians?" Dr. Zixathara asked with growing dread. "Humans from Australia," Ambassador Kim explained. "It's a continent where literally everything is trying to kill you. Venomous spiders, poisonous snakes, toxic plants, aggressive wildlife, deadly weather patterns. Most galactic species would classify it as uninhabitable. And humans live there voluntarily?" Dr. Vorth asked. "Not just live there," Marcus said, finally selecting what appeared to be a bottle of concentrated sulfuric acid. "They love it there. Australians are famous for being tough. They complain when other places aren't dangerous enough for them." Marcus opened the bottle and took a small sip, then nodded approvingly. "This stuff is great. Really clears the palate. Tastes like lemon juice." Half the assembled scientists immediately backed away from him. Dr. Zixathara was frantically taking notes on her datapad. "Ambassador Kim, I need to understand the implications of this. If humans are essentially walking biological weapons who happen to be friendly, what does this mean for galactic relations?" Ambassador Kim looked around at the crowd of increasingly nervous aliens. "Doctor, I think you're asking the wrong question. The question isn't what this means for galactic relations. The question is what this means for galactic survival." "Survival?" Dr. Alexandra asked. Think about it, Ambassador Kim said. Humans evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We didn't just survive, we thrived. We turned every challenge into an advantage. We made friends with deadly bacteria. We turned poisons into medicine. We built civilizations in the most hostile environments imaginable. Marcus was now chatting with a Thraxian vendor about some kind of crystallized methane compound. My grandmother would love these, he was saying. She's always looking for new ingredients to put in her Sunday sauce. And now, Ambassador Kim continued, we're here in the galaxy, meeting new species, learning about new worlds. Do you know what humans are going to do when we find out about all the dangerous places in the galaxy? Dr. Zixthera suddenly understood. Her 4 eyes went wide with realization. You're going to want to visit them, she whispered. We're going to want to explore them, study them, maybe even live on them. Ambassador Kim confirmed. Humans don't see dangerous worlds as places to avoid. We see them as interesting challenges. Marcus wandered back over to the group, his arms full of various substances that were making multiple different warning devices beep and flash. Hey, Ambassador, I just heard about this great place called the neutron fields. Apparently it's this area of space where the radiation levels are so high that most ships can't even fly through it. Sounds like it would be really interesting to explore. Dr. Vorth made a choking sound. The neutron fields are a galactic navigation hazard. Nothing can survive there. Nothing except humans, apparently, Marcus said with obvious excitement. We should totally plan an expedition. Dr. Zixthera looked at her colleagues, then at Ambassador Kim, then at Marcus with his armload of toxic shopping purchases. Colleagues, she announced to the assembled scientists, I believe we need to send an emergency message to the Galactic Council. We're not just dealing with first contact with a new species. We're dealing with the arrival of the galaxy's first friendly monsters. Marcus looked hurt. Monsters? That's not very nice. We're perfectly harmless. As he said this, he accidentally dropped one of his acid crystals. It hit the floor and immediately began dissolving through the metal deck plating. Oops, Marcus said cheerfully. Sorry about that. Good thing these stations are built tough. Dr. Zixthera watched the acid eat through 6 inches of reinforced hull material and realized that the galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place, and it was still only, Tuesday. In the weeks that followed, the initial report about human biology became the most downloaded scientific document in galactic history. 3 different species updated their planetary classification systems. The Galactic Council established new safety protocols for dealing with humans. The Universal Medical Association created an entirely new category of biological impossibility. But Marcus Chen, the human who had accidentally revolutionized galactic science by showing up for a routine medical checkup, remained completely oblivious to his impact on the universe. He was too busy planning a vacation to the Acid Rain Nebula, which he had heard was beautiful this time of year.